It is No Gifts Please, the parenting podcast by the pair with no real gifts, but a whole lot of gumption. Hey everyone, I'm Steve Noviello.
And I'm Jenny Anchondo.
And happy almost New Year. It'll be New Year's Eve. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my gosh. Big plans for going out and getting crazy.
You know, it's funny. So at work, they said, hey, we're doing like this multi-city New Year's Eve special, Dallas, Austin, Houston.
So fun.
We would like you to be the reporter in Dallas and have you like out at a bar or a party, like, so it'd be like live from like 10 p.m. to like 12:30 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
You're like, I'll be asleep.
I will have been sleeping for like, first of all, talking to drunk people on live television.
Like not your thing.
Not you've done it. You've had to do that before.
I have
correct?
Done this and I was,
Me too.
I was 2 decades ago.
Yeah.
So,
not for New Year's, but like St. Patrick's Day or like our team won or whatever the case is where people are just being like.
Yeah. One of my biggest traumatic I'm so glad YouTube wasn't big then / this would have been the worst blooper ever was on New Year's Eve when I was a one woman band, MMJ as they call them now. And I interviewed, I mean, you get down to the wire. There's nobody left to interview. Stop me if I've told you this story before.
Well,
but
you haven't told them. So.
I'm like, oh my gosh, where do I go? I'm supposed to be talking about New Year's resolutions. And I'm interviewing a man who he's holding like a bottle in a bag down low, like out of the camera frame. He also doesn't have a shirt on, but he's also my only, like he is my last
only
shot.
Option.
I have tried everybody. I've been at gas stations. I've been at parks. I've been outside of grocery stores. Nobody wants to talk to me about this topic for whatever reason. So I'm like, sir, will you talk to me about this New Year's resolution? He's like, I will. And he's holding, I mean, he's drinking, he's having fun, you know? And then
he's got a 40 in a brown bag.
Basically. And then he tells me his New Year's resolution is to quit smoking. And I bring it back to the station and the ending soundbite was, I'm going to do it this year. Yeah. And everybody saw it. Everybody was laughing about it. Like, just kind of like the irony of it all. Right. So when it came back to me after he was on camera with that, like back in the studio to report my tag about New Year's resolutions, I could not hold it together. I could not. I paused. I snorted. I laughed. I ultimately put my scripts in front of my face and actually fell to the ground, like collapsed in embarrassment.
Because you're thinking to yourself, dude, you've got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
Like I think quitting smoking, while admirable, is like the 10th thing that comes to mind.
And it had just become such a thing because I was so late on deadline and they're like, what'd you get? And you got, really, Jenny, you were gone all day and you got this guy. Anyway, so I'm glad that you don't have to do the evening New Year's. I will not be doing that. I am doing a New Year's special, but it was pre-recorded.
Yeah, for sure. So. Well, and also we're in that week now where like nobody knows what day it is. Like it could,
not at all.
You know, it's like December 62nd. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
no, completely. Although we're still like you and I are still working in the pieces. I think for some businesses, they take sort of this 1 week or 2 week chunk off and then they're vacationing and we're sort of like fitting in some travels in between.
Well, and I'm also planning for when I'm out in Las Vegas at the Consumer Electronics Show. So I'm trying to plan that week, but it's a different time zone. So I'm in like doing, it's just, I don't know if I'm coming or going right now. You know
how was Christmas though?
Christmas was lovely. We were in New York with the kids. Magical. It was magical. My parents, just do everything they possibly can to make it a wonderful experience. We were talking, our family, we come from a very big family, and then the family gets a little smaller as people start to pass away. And now the family's getting bigger again. So we were like 28 for a sit-down dinner at my parents' house. So it was really nice.
Who cooked for 28? Who
my
had
mom.
Service for 28?
My mom.
Wow.
Yeah.
She really does it all, doesn't she?
Yeah, we get out like the folding tables. I mean, we extend the dining room table itself is enormous, but then like we just go right into the next room with
I was looking at a photo of it. Was it a mirror? Is it up against a mirror or was it that long?
No, it's that long.
It looks like it's up against a mirror.
No, it's
I mean, truly.
Yeah,
like were you eating in a hallway?
That's a doorway to another room that it extends into.
Oh.
Yeah. But it was great. There was snow on the ground. The kids loved it, all that other kind of good stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad.
You had a good trip? Or a good time rather? You were here?
I went nowhere.
Yeah.
We decided after the last trip with Gemma that she wasn't flying for a minute. It was, I think it
well, this was her first Christmas, right?
It was her first Christmas. It was so special.
Because when's her birthday?
December 28th.
Yeah,
so last year at Christmas, my parents were in town anticipating, her birth being, because my mom, it was my mom and Heath that were going to be there, when she was born and everything. And my dad there to help with Brighton. And we were just waiting and waiting and waiting, and she never came. And then the next day came, and then she came the 28th, which was actually her due date. Just like being older, they want you to like have your baby earlier. But she came on her exact due date. So it was fun to be able to actually plan ahead for a first Christmas. I had bought baby's first Christmas stuff last year, like newborn baby's first Christmas. And then, that was shot. So it was fun to really plan ahead and have her sort of open gifts and just like see Brighton introduce her to the traditions was so tender and sweet. And then her birthday was like a couple days later. So then we reignited more gifts. And if you're a close friend of mine and you're like, oh, you did something for her birthday? Like you didn't tell me. Here's what I did. I invited 3 friends with babies.
Oh, that's
3
a good
babies.
idea.
So that
we were not one of them.
You don't have a baby. Yeah. I would have loved for you guys to have had another baby so we could do this together and partied together, but you opted out of that. So we invited over 3 babies and did a music class with just like
that's cute.
Those 3 other kids. For Brighton's birthday, we did like a big first birthday bash that was really like about us, and it was super fun and we loved it. But like I looked back on that and thought, well, that wasn't really for Brighton. So for Gemma, we just did a music class and brought in this cute like teacher from Park Cities Music, and it was darling.
Nice.
And, ate banana pancakes.
Oh, that sounds... Well,
banana
wait a minute. Okay, now you've sparked a question I wanted to have. Not only did you eat banana egg pancakes or whatever else is you made, you left out broccoli cookies for Santa Claus.
Listen.
I cannot imagine that your husband lives in a house where broccoli cookies are left out for Santa. Maybe the reindeer.
I mean, this seems classic me. This seems like something I initiated, but I need the world to know that the Santa at Small Pockets apparently was telling children that he wanted broccoli cookies. So I don't know if that was like a game of telephone, got lost in translation, but Brighton came home saying Santa wants broccoli cookies, and like I really want to do him a solid.
Okay.
He's been so good to me. So then my mom looked up the recipe and made the cookies in Idaho and then packed them up and flew them to Dallas.
This is the first year of the broccoli cookie?
Yes, we'd never heard of it.
Because what it seemed to me as an outsider looking in on your social media, I was like, is this bitch kidding me? Like, of all, like, what in the homemade huckleberry jam, food with the dirt still on it tradition of the Anchondo family is this broccoli cookies?
It was initiated by a Dallas-based Santa.
Okay.
I need to be like,
I for sure was like, of course she's making broccoli cookies.
It seems like me, but it's not.
Very on brand for you.
It's very on brand, but I just like, I don't know. But he ate them.
He did.
And the girls got everything that they could ever hope for. And so it worked out beautifully.
So this year, Hanukkah and Christmas kind of overlap. So Christmas, first night of Hanukkah was Christmas night, and then Hanukkah will run into the new year. So I've talked about her before on the show, our old babysitter from a million years ago, Beth Goldstein. We were texting.
Babysitter
She said,
of
me, yes,
not
because
of your boys.
the kids have never had one. So she texted me. She said, "Hey," and her parents still live next door to my parents. She said, "I'm going to be at my parents' house for Hanukkah tonight. Do you mind if I stop by?" And I was like, absolutely not. And she used this word, and I have to agree, surreal. Like to see somebody after 30 years. I mean, it's been legit 30 years that I have not looked at you in the eye. And the last time I did, she said I was graduating college. I can't imagine I was that old.
Still needing a babysitter.
But like still needing I really did need a babysitter. So I think I was probably even younger than that, but it was very nice and very fun. So
were you able to properly catch up, or was it just sort of like quick in and out?
She kind of stopped by, and honestly, I felt bad because I was probably distracted by it for longer than I should have been because we had so much to talk about.
Of course.
We have kids and she has kids and her son came in and our husband was there and our family is all there and my aunts and uncles and whatever else. So we kind of were in the kitchen catching up and chit-chatting. My sister was with us as well. Okay, but one of the other things that we did while we were away, and I messaged you because I was like, topic for when we get back. So we went to the arcade with the kids more than once. And I really have... and maybe we're shooting an episode. We've got one coming up about anxiety in kids, and maybe this is a better question for there. But the idea of allowing your kids to do what they, what seems what they like, even though you're unsure whether or not it actually brings them joy. And what I mean by this is like, so we go to the arcade.
Yeah.
We have two very different children. They each get a game card. One of them is running around like rock star, drum machine, like playing all sorts of stuff.
I can tell who
doesn't care. I mean, is wheels off, like just, hanging from the chandelier. The other one is methodically going from machine to machine, calculating how many tickets you might win depending on how good you do at each one of these things, because there's like the little gift shop at the end where you get like the tickets, and then you get, it's 1,000 tickets for like a rubber frog, which is like crap, right? And unfortunately, those games are designed for you to not win. Right. So like you are
like, you can't calculate it ahead of time unless you've played those games multiple times. Correct. And you know how you're going to do.
Right. And it's just, it's like, one with the coin, and you're supposed to knock all the coins off. And of course it never knocks off. And, the ones with the claw, like it'll pick up the tickets. And the crazy thing is that sometimes he does win. So it's, but it's like, I was talking to my mom about it because I was like, he is so hyper focused. Right. Like, are you having fun, or is this your idea of fun? Because you do like math and you do like figuring things out and whatnot. And we were joking about it. And I said, but let's just have some fun and not worry about it. He said, I'm motivated by tickets, Daddy. I want to make sure I get the most tickets so that I can get something nice at the end. And he did. I mean, he got like a cute little Minecraft sign one day, and then another day we went back and he got like a robot or whatever else. But I couldn't help but think to myself, God, are you having fun, or are you like sucking the fun out of this experience because you're so preoccupied with getting the best deal possible?
And then someone's a child of safety, Steve.
And then of course I'm like, this is my fault. Like, this is my fault. And I'm also like, you're 7, and this is so deeply who you are that, do I try and change it? And I said to him the second time I went, I said, why don't we just spend today trying to have as much fun as we can? And he was like, I think getting tickets is fun.
Yeah, it's like playing a game and not winning for him. Like, it would be like, oh, let's go play soccer, but let's not keep score. Let's just have fun. If I'm like outside in, I'm saying, well, that wouldn't be fun for him because he wants to kind of like keep score, so to speak. Right. He wants to.
Do you run into that with Brighton at all, where she's like wants to do something and he'll get frustrated by playing these machines that
like with tumbling,
like the claw comes and it drops the thing and he gets really and I'm like, dude, like it's not fun for me. Like,
the claw to me is like teaching kids how to gamble. I hate when Heath takes Brighton to do the claw. In fact, there's a place in Richardson that's only claw machines that they went to.
Do not tell Jacob about it.
Okay, well, Brighton may tell him, but it's all claw machines, and everybody does like end up getting a stuffy. Stuffies are kind of like the reward or whatever, and they went with their friends. But I'm like, I don't like her getting hooked on that kind of stuff. It's just it feels like gambly. It feels like kid casino, kid Las Vegas. I don't like it. I don't find joy in any of it. Like,
well, and that's the thing, because me, from my like frugal, like pragmatic minded, like, hey, I know that you're seeing the goal here, but the reality is that these are designed to rip you off, and I don't want you to fall. Right, so I don't know, like maybe you are having fun, but do you ever get worried about stuff like that, or am I just nuts?
I mean, definitely. Brighton
does it more with
tumbling or like with an athletic sort of thing where she's trying it over and over, and then you're like, oh, this doesn't seem fun anymore. And I think that is different because I'm taking her to it. Right. She's definitely in a phase where she's obsessed. She's asking to go. Can I get a private lesson? Can I do this? And it's like, okay, this is super, super fun. But if I get a feeling of like she's discouraged more than a couple times in a row and isn't loving it, I'm like, well, I mean,
see, and it's funny because outside looking in, and I was looking at your Instagram, and she was tumbling and backflipping, and she's doing great. And I was like, crap, my kids don't have a thing. Like, look at Brighton. She's got this thing that she loves, that there's this thing that she loves more than anything else. And she always wants to do, and she's getting better at it every time she does it and whatnot. And I guess, and again, our kids are fantastic. And like, for him, like, by the way, guess what his favorite gift was for Christmas?
What?
Calculator.
Well,
like, loved.
Yeah. I mean,
loved. Did I tell you how he asked for it?
Not shocking.
He came to us and he said, I want a phone for Christmas. And I said, buddy, you're 7 years old. Like, we are like light years away from cell phone. He said, well, I don't need the whole phone. I just want part of it. And I said, well, what part do you want? He said, just the calculator. Yeah. And I said, oh, I'll talk
I
to.
guess we can.
I'll talk to Santa.
We can see if Santa can.
I mean,
is
and
he
is like, Grandpa, you've been alive for 4,792 minutes. Like on your next birthday, you'll have been alive for, like, I mean, like loves.
Back to the casino games that you were letting him play.
back to your children gambling.
Back to Las Vegas. I mean, Brighton does it too with Heath. I'm like not about it myself, but it seems like that really is fun. We can't put our own sort of like definition of fun onto somebody. Like I love to dance,
but he gets so frustrated about it.
But when you want to be good at something, you do get frustrated. Like you don't want somebody who has no drive and doesn't want to complete any task the second it gets hard. He's getting frustrated and then he's actually getting past it.
Yeah, right? I guess. And then like in the gift shop, like that's like I was like, okay, let's go, because we were catching a movie, and my dad and they're like, oh, we have plenty of time, and I was like, no, we're gonna need a minute.
Here for a minute.
We're gonna be here. You've got and of course he's got 2,411 tickets. So now he's like, okay,
what do we do with the 11?
What can I add up in here to make sure they're all? And I will say that he's like, oh, Hudson can have he wanted something that was like 2,400 tickets, and he's like, Hudson can have the other 11.
That's sweet.
Hudson walks in there and he's like, I have 8 tickets. And
what can I get?
And even that was like, okay, what do I get? Whatever, and
I think it is tough, but it's also like he's having fun in his own way. Our definition of fun might be a little different.
I just feel like there's it's fun with a little anxiety.
With the side of anxiety. Right. That's why this guest is so perfect that we have coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun with a side of anxiety. That's kind of how I live my life.
Yeah. Remember how you grilled the ear, nose, and throat doctor?
Yes.
For your personal gain? I feel like that's going to...
Which, by the way, now we're going to a doctor that says she needs her adenoids out potentially.
Oh, well, there you go. You should go to Tyler and have him do Dr. Scoresby, sorry.
Yeah.
Scoresby, and have him do the surgery.
I may. I'm going to have him. I'm going to go to him for a second opinion for sure.
Yeah.
Like just to be like, does she really need this? Surgery is such a big deal. I know that it's like adenoid removal is like a dime a dozen. Probably everybody listening has had that.
I think you do drive through at this point.
Yeah. Still her cute little nose, just her, her cute little self under anesthesia. It's just a lot.
And just to look and see your child under.
Yeah.
I just not cute.
Would love to be able to avoid that if at all possible.
Okay. So before we run out of time here, it is New Year's Eve.
Yes.
Are you a vision board situation? What are your... You know
the answer to this.
I feel like you invented the vision board.
My mom and Oprah invented the vision board back in the 90s.
While making broccoli cookies, I'm sure.
I was going home one year for I think maybe it might have been my first TV job. So this is 2 decades ago. And I was working...
What year did you start in TV? Were we the same?
2004.
Oh, okay. So not the same.
So close, right?
December 98. So 1999. So about 5 years behind.
Well,
which makes sense because I'm about 5 years older.
Yeah. So that's about right. So I was coming home and just you're just working through all these things. And I think life was just in big excitement / upheaval. And if I remember it correctly, my mom saw on Oprah about this vision board thing or about sort of planning out your life and doing it visually. And so we started this tradition and we've been doing it for the last 2 decades. And then it became solidified when Heath one New Year's, when we were very first dating, was like, do you want to hang out for New Year's? I was like, I can't, I'm going to Idaho. I do vision boards with my mom. And he's like, cool. Do you want to hang out for New Year's Eve? I'm like, again, I will be in Idaho.
Still in Idaho.
I will still be in Idaho. He's like, that's fine. We could do it there. We're like, we can hang out there. So he flew himself was not invited, by the way, just flew himself there. And I was like, again, you can come here, but I will be sitting at my parents' house and cutting out scraps of magazines and printing things off and being very woo-woo. And you can be there if you want. Anyway, I think what was so amazing was
how early on in your relationship was this?
2 months.
I love it. Heath.
And he had just had hip surgery, so he was on crutches. And my mom had broken her shoulder or had shoulder surgery. So they were both just I don't know.
There was a lot on the vision board.
There was a lot on the vision board. And so we started, so then Heath joined in with it and now we both put them up. They're in our laundry room. So if you're ever at our house, anybody who's listening to this.
I feel like he would be very much into the vision board.
He was, but I didn't know him yet.
Right.
He was just inviting himself over. I didn't know him in that way, but yeah, he's very into it.
So
he's very into visualization. He's excellent at visualizing.
Were you able to be honest on your vision board that you're was getting married one day on that board and you're like, oh no, I've got this boyfriend who's 2 months in and I can't be putting an engagement ring on this thing.
No, I wasn't thinking that. But you're right. I wonder if I'm sure I tempered it a little bit. I mean, surely I had to have. I'm sure it wasn't the most honest.
I'm not going to show you authentically who I am.
Well, I'm just saying, I get really deep on it. I get very specific and have had I really enjoy it. There's been some years that have been incredibly hard and I wanted to skip it because the things obviously don't always come true.
Right.
And sometimes it takes many, many years and sometimes your vision changes. And it's always a very emotional day because of those things that have not yet come to fruition that you've worked really hard for. And it's still just like a sticking point.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What's your New Year's Eve?
And do you review like your 2024 vision board?
Yes.
Will you take a look and be like, okay, yes,
Absolutely.
no? Like what was on there? I mean, I would imagine the baby's
been on it for many years. And I think that was just the painful sticking point. I put job flexibility. I really desire job flexibility. I desire job joy, creativity at work. That's been on mine for a long time. And I've gotten so much more creativity over the years. And that's been like amazing. I want more travel. I have I put aside, there's a couple missions trip I wanted to do, but now that I've got like a young baby, that's coming off. It's just, that's not in my heart. My heart is like broccoli cookies, nurturing my girls, trying to be the best mom, try to be a good wife so that, that's still there when they're 18.
Yeah. Keep that.
Yeah. So I think it's just like so much more simple now. I have a book that I would like to work on, but not now. It's like things are coming off, but they will be put back on. But right now it's like 100% Gemma and Brighton.
That's nice.
It's mother.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. So it's fun. I think it's good. What about you?
I don't do that.
Do you goal set? Do you New Year's resolution? I mean, you're very goal oriented. You don't need to goal set.
No, you know what? I don't try to stop doing something in the new year. I try and start doing something, if that makes sense. I think a lot of people are like, I'm going to stop,
smoking.
Whatever, stop smoking. I'm going to stop, whatever.
Sure.
It's like, okay, how about you start being a non-smoker? Like, and as hokey as that example sounds, but like something that's more
actually
proactive,
proven. That's proven to work the way that you're phrasing it.
It's funny because for my daytime show, they're like, oh, we're doing vision boards. And I was like, I don't really do that.
That's fine. Be authentic. That's,
Well, but now, of course, everybody is like, oh, I do a vision board. And I'm like, okay, there are things that I, it's funny that you mentioned, I have been thinking about writing a book for a long time, and I would love to do that. I would like to, travel with the kids. I would like to, have more help at work. I would like, whatever. But there's also like part of me that's, I don't really know what I would even put on it.
Okay. I just heard a few things right there. Here's
I guess and that's the thing. It doesn't have to be 20 things.
Yeah. And we will also, Heath and I will both usually do a really big, obnoxious thing where I'm almost like embarrassed. Like it should embarrass you.
Do I remember seeing on your vision board those like individual huts in like Bora Bora or wherever the heck it was, and then you went there for your honeymoon?
Yes.
Okay, this is coming back.
Yes. It was, Heath had because he wasn't organized with his vision boards, but he's always been a visualizer. He ripped it out of a magazine, put it under his bed when he was like broke, living at his parents' house, like in his childhood bedroom as like an adult, and put it under his bed and kept it. And then he earned that trip for free through his company.
Oh, wow.
Like a decade or more later. So that's like, I just think those special things can happen because visualization is just so powerful. And it will also remind you of the things where you're like, oh, I know I said it, that I really wanted that, but like, am I living that out? Like I said, I wanted to be a better mom,
right?
But am I not?
Right. Am I taking a step closer to that goal every day?
Yeah. Do it.
Okay.
You can always throw it away. I mean, it's like whatever.
Oh my God. I would be like, that's like shoes on the bed. I would be very nervous about throwing away a vision board.
Okay. Well,
I'd
so
be
don't
like
throw it away.
Down
but yeah, you need to put one on there that's so big that it's obnoxious and you would almost be embarrassed if people saw it.
God, what would that be?
Fun.
What's yours?
Your own show.
Right. Like, I
but
mean,
you got it. But I don't know. This year.
And by the way, I don't say that to be like, well, my life is perfect. I have everything I possibly need. But yeah.
My biggest one for the last couple of years, just because of the 5 to 10% odds, was having a baby. And that people wouldn't look at that and think it's obnoxious because a lot of people have that goal. But also once you go down.
What was yours this year? What's going to be your big one?
I don't know. That's what I'm still thinking about. But honestly, I want a private chef, and that maybe is like that. Yeah, okay. You can say whatever you want about me.
Board. Nope.
But
I agree.
Yep. I want a private chef. I want to be with my children. I want to be with my husband. I want to enjoy my life. I want to work out. I don't want to prepare. Okay.
We'll do dinner at your house 3 days a week and dinner at my house 4 days a week. Actually, we'll do 3 and then macaroni Sunday.
On Sundays.
Perfect. I think that works. I think it does.
See, that let you up. Private chef. Do it.
There you go. Private chef on the vision board.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. I'm in.
Okay. Perfect.
It's funny, and real quick, because we're running out of time here, what I do think is nice is that sometimes I'm reminded that I'm living a life that I couldn't have imagined. Like, so I don't know if you remember, Doug went rogue at some like charity auction and bought like an 8x10 area rug for our home, which I did not pick out, and B, we did not need.
Like it doesn't go with,
Well, and
such a random purchase.
Insides, he's out like you landscape, you put whatever you want out there. Like I'm good. Like here's what I would prefer, but like
rug.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. And we have no place for it. So he was like, hey, I bought this like, however many hundreds of dollars rug, and it was not the $2,000 it should have cost, but like whatever. And I was like, what the F are we going to do with this rug? So anyway, I ended up selling it on Facebook Marketplace. So these two guys came over last night because I was like, hey, listen, I'll do it for this much, but you have to come like right now. Like I want this out of my house. And they were like, okay, cool. And they got there and they were like, and they came in around the back. And they were like, oh my gosh. And they were two younger gay guys.
Yeah. Look at the life you've built for yourself.
100%.
And wow.
He was like, wow, look at this pool. Like you have a beautiful home. And I was like, oh, thanks. And we joked that we live in kind of the projects of our neighborhood because it is. And it's still nice projects, and he was like, oh, wait, you have kids? And I said, yeah. He goes, we really want to have kids. And how did you have them? Like, sir, Doug, of course, is like, who the hell have you been out there talking to? And I was like, oh, these two guys I just met and they want to have a baby. And I'm going to help them through surrogacy and answering all sorts of questions. And we're having coffee next week. Whatever. But again, I think that the universe puts these little reminders in yourself that, you know what, sometimes you're living your vision board if you would just take time to stop and realize it.
Absolutely. Mic drop.
Done. All right. That's a good place for us to stop. Again, we want to wish you a happy new year and thank you so much for all of your love and support. Go ahead and click like and subscribe so that you can tune in every time that we are back on the air, which is every Tuesday morning. And if you do nothing else in the meantime, go find yourself a friend you don't need to clean the house for. Happy New Year, everyone.